Get myself right up on out of here. I feel like a disgrace, I'm not really what I appear. I go home to my girl and I make nicey nice. The fact that she don't know that I just put someone on. I don't like being here. I constantly live in fear. Could be gone at any time. When you live a life of crime, face the music, do the time. I'm trapped again, and fate as always hasn't wrapped again. I always get caught in my life of sin, but I just keep on going back again. You know I'm lost again, when all I wanted was to find a friend. Someone that I can always depend on to help me find my life again. You know I'm trapped again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mayhemtainment 30, Sting's Legacy, and our review of AEW Revolution. I am joined by our executive producer, Mizpah. Mizpah, welcome to Mayhemtainment.
Hey, how's it going?
We're going to have Mike D from Wrestling from the 313, hopefully joining us here very shortly. But until he gets in, we're going to be talking about Sting and his legacy. But first, we wanted to give a quick review of the event. Sorry, I'm having some problems here. Technical difficulties right at the beginning. Get it out the way at the beginning, so that way it doesn't happen later. All right. So, Mizpah, you were with me when we ordered. AEW Revolution. We ordered it together. You came over and we watched it. How did you rate the whole thing? I think the whole thing was a really good event.
Yeah, I'd say it was probably one of the better pay-per-views I've seen in a while.
And for me, it was my first AEW pay-per-view, and for you as well. It was our first AEW pay-per-view together.
Yeah, it was my first AEW. I would put it right up there with some of the better pay-per-views for WWE, WCW time frame, like late 90s. I think it was right on point with them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Hello, Crander Q, Friends of the Squared Circle. Thank you for tuning in. Let's run through some of the matches right quick. Then hopefully
I do have to apologize. I'm a little under the weather.
Oh, that's all right.
So I'll probably be coughing my whole way through this.
Well, just try not to cough directly into the mic. I think it'll be all right. All right, let's start off with 0 Hour. This is the pre-show. I was still trying to figure out how to order the pay-per-view. I was having technical difficulties, so I didn't get to watch some of these. But the first one was a 12-man tag team match. I'm sorry I missed it. So I can't really comment on it, except to say that the Bang Bang Scissor Gang defeated Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Singh, Private Party, and Mac. That's the only thing I can say about that one, unfortunately. I did get to see some of the women's tag match, Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander against Sky Blue and Julia Hart. I think that should have been on the main card. I think it was a great tag team match, and I'd like to see more women matches on these pay-per-views. Only getting one on the pre-show and then one on the main card, I'm not very happy about that one. What do you think, Ms. Block?
Honestly, I with the technical difficulties we were having with that pay-per-view, that match I really hadn't paid a whole lot of attention to because I was busy trying to put some things together and get things set up. So I missed a lot of that.
I did. I mean, but I meant about what are your thoughts on the women should have been featured more frequently than just one match on the pre-show and one match on the main card.
Oh yeah, I definitely think they should have had a little more of a presence. And what I did see, it was good. I mean, they sold it well. They had great storyline going.
And I think Julia Hart and Sky Blue, I want to see more of them. I like their chemistry together and how they're looking together. Those are the only...
You and I had a conversation about women's wrestling and how women in wrestling, it's very reminiscent of men's wrestling, in towards its peak of towards its heyday when wrestling was everywhere.
Yeah. I think it's definitely like from back in the 90s and stuff. So that's where I think women's wrestling is now. It's definitely far more. The first match was for the TNT title, Christian versus Daniel Garcia. This match was all right. Christian Cage and Daniel Garcia. I'm a Daniel Garcia fan. I think he's going to have a lot of good things happening for him in the near future. But it was a good starter match. Not a great match, but a starter match. If we use our rating system for this, I'd give this one a good 6 or 7 body slams out of 10.
Now, see, I felt like this match was missing a little something.
The second match, let's go through these a little quicker here. The Continental Classic or the Continental Crown Championship. The champion Eddie Kingston going against Bryan Danielson. They had a match at the last pay-per-view, which I guess was very similar to this. I thought it was a great match. I think these guys fought hard. They battled each other very well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Eddie Kingston retained the title. He went against Daniel Garcia. It was a pretty good match. I'd give that one a good 7 out of 10 body slams on that one as well. Let's see. The third match here was the Scramble. This was the 8-man Scramble. I thought it was a good production match. I thought everybody did a really good job on their spots. Oh, well, friends, you're in trouble then if the wife doesn't know you're here. I like Daniel. Yes, Daniel. Friends of the Squared Circle. Crandall Q is a huge Bryan Danielson fan. That was one of his Mount Rushmore picks. But for the 8-man Scramble, I thought this was a good match. They did some spots. There were some good spots, but I didn't really. It's exactly what it says. It was an 8-man Scramble match. It was literally people in and out of the ring, people attacking everybody, all the way through.
Honestly, I was a little disappointed with this match. I felt like it could have been more than what it ended up being. Like there was so much more potential there.
With 8 men, though, it's hard
felt
to feature.
A little flat for me.
I can understand that. That's what I mean. Like, I'd probably give this one a 6. Like I said, it was a good production match. Everybody did their spots really well. There were some great spots. Don't get me wrong. All of these guys did great in the match. It's just I think it was a little too much with 8 guys. It was just a lot to try and follow, and for them to try and get anything going other than just the build up to the next. Whoa, look at that! That was crazy. Did you see it? So. But overall, yeah, I'd give it a 6. So, we're getting a strong pay-per-view, and none of these matches were bad. Like we were saying here. The fourth match, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. He ends up losing the title to Roderick Strong. You didn't get to see a lot of good Orange Cassidy in this. Mizpah doesn't get to see a lot of AEW, and he didn't get to see a lot of good Orange Cassidy. He didn't get to do some of his normal stuff that he does. So I was a little disappointed in that. But the match was great. Orange Cassidy, you know how he is. I mean, he can always put it on. And then putting the International Championship on Roderick Strong is an interesting choice. You know what I mean? I guess we'll see how that goes.
Now, what I will say is with Orange Cassidy, and you had said that I wasn't getting to see a lot of what he does. It shows how well he can perform because, with the storyline they have going with him, it fit what was happening.
Yeah, it went with the story. Yeah, good point. Yeah, it was good for the story and the whole Orange Cassidy, being injured and still defending his title and everything. Jana Pride, thank you. Shout out Jana Pride. Thank you for tuning in. She's going to be on an upcoming episode about Star Trek, and then she's going to join this commenter, and we'll be doing an episode on the Power Rangers. So stay tuned for that. You think Crander Q, Hobbs AEW champ? I don't know. I mean, like I'm a Hobbs fan, but I don't know about putting the belt on him. I mean, I'd love to see Swerve have a long run, and it looks like he's going to have to wrap up whatever he's doing with Hangman Page before they put the belt on him. So that's what's going on there. But we're going to get to that in just a second because that's later on. But the tag match. FTR, who I am huge fans of, the best tag team on the planet right now, FTR, no question. Going against the Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. And listen, this is a great match. Hard hitting. You got to see good tandem tag team offense. You got to see some good striking, and you got to see some good mat wrestling. So, this one was a 9 for me. This one is a 9 for me. Oh, and I'm sorry, the International Championship. I got to give that one an 8, at least an 8 for Orange Cassidy and the International Championship. But for the tag match, I give it a 9. What, Mizpah?
Yeah, I thought this was a great match. It was very, very reminiscent of an old school brawler tag match where it was just some big honking guys just clobbering the snot out of each other and getting gassed and trying for that last ditch tag, and it had all the good elements of a great tag match.
Yeah, I completely agree. We have some commenters here. Jana, Hobbs needs good mouth. Yeah, you're right. He's not very good on the on the mic at all. And yes, Crander Q, I am certainly available. Hobbs, if you would like a mouthpiece, reach out to me. I will certainly be happy to work with you and become your mouthpiece. So definitely reach out. You can find me on Twitter at @MayhemPrez, or you can email me, jdboilingpoint@gmail.com. Thank you guys for tuning in and continuing to comment. Where are we at here? Next match, the women's match. The women's world title, timeless Toni Storm against Deonna Purrazzo. A good match. I definitely will give this one an 8 as well. I think Toni Storm is fantastic. I think she's having an amazing run. And like I said, there are other women that I would have liked to have seen. I'm a huge Britt Baker fan. I would have loved to have seen her on the card. There's a lot of other women that AEW have that I think should have gotten a match. But I am a huge with what Toni Storm is doing with her timeless thing is just phenomenal. And I hope they give her a title reign for a good long while here.
Yeah, I like what she's got going on there because it's different. It's not. It goes against the norm a little bit, but yet it still fits in with the whole retro theme. There's a big retro push in society right now, and they're eating it up. And I thought she did well in the match. I thought that match was pretty well balanced as far as skill and ability. I have nothing bad to say about it at all.
Yeah, no, neither do I. I give this at least an 8 also. Crander Q commenting again. Roderick was born in his hometown. That's cool. I did not know his dad was an Elvis impersonator. That's pretty sweet. Next match 7 here. Will Ospreay against Kensuke Takashita. And this was a high-flying, all-out, two guys just throwing themselves at each other match. Mizpah?
Yeah, it was a higher energy. I will say there were a couple of times that I felt like the cameraman kind of got a little lost in the action, like he didn't know what to focus on.
Well, I think with these two guys, that's not hard to do to get.
Yeah, but with everything they had going on, I mean, you know, it was definitely a good match.
Yeah, I think these two guys are going to be two amazing stars in the near to long term future in AEW. I wouldn't mind seeing them. Feud for maybe an under title or something like that, maybe. And I also wouldn't mind seeing Will Ospreay rejoin. Oh man, what is it? Is it the stable he was a part of that I can't remember? It's with the tag team Aussie Open, but I can't. Is it United Empire? Who's watching? Can anybody let me know what the stable is that he might reform?
And was this the match that you and I both kind of looked at each other and went, "What the hell did we just see there?"
Yeah, I believe so, because like I said, it was just two guys just literally throwing themselves at each other. Jana Pride match of the night. I'm going to disagree with that, and we're going to get to the match that I think was the match of the night later, but I do agree with you. Without the main event, this is the match of the night, because I do think it was a show stealer kind of a match also, and I'm glad that it got prominent placement on the card.
I would give this a solid 9.5 body slams.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9 also. Definitely a great match with those two guys. Then we had the match before the main events. In fact, actually, hold on 1 second here before we get on with the next one here. We just got joining us at this time is Mike D, representing wrestling from the 313. Mike D, welcome to Mayhemtainment 30.
What up, though? What's good? What's good, fellas?
What's going on, man?
We didn't actually get to Sting yet. We're still going through the AEW Revolution card quick, so you just made it just in time for the end of that.
Okay, sweet.
Before we get to actually here, let's do this one, and then we'll go back and we'll ask you what one of your highlight matches were before we get to the main event and Sting stuff and all that. But this is the world title, AEW world title match, triple threat match, Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, Hangman Adam Page. This was a really good match. It was a really good match, and it's a triple threat match. I don't like Hangman Adam Page's new mustache. I think he's got to lose the 90s stash, but sure. I think the match itself was very excellent. It looks like, and Mike D, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you watch AEW a little more regular. Mizpah is just getting into AEW a little bit. Swerve Strickland's going to Samoa Joe won this match, so he retains the title. And now Swerve Strickland's going to have to finish up his program with Hangman Adam Page, right? Before they put the belt on him.
Yeah, I would say so. Yep.
Yeah, because of how it ended. I mean, they basically cost each other the world title. Samoa Joe wins because the other two were busy fighting each other, and it was a great match. Don't get me wrong, but the ending was it could have gone one of two ways. Swerve Strickland wins, and it's a huge moment. Huge blow up. Swerve Strickland becomes the AEW World Champion, or Samoa Joe wins it, and then Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page got to continue their program. I don't think Hangman Adam Page wins that match. I don't think there's any chance. He's already been the world champion. Putting the belts on him doesn't really do anything. So, but overall, I think it was a great match. I'm a little disappointed. I want to see Swerve Strickland as the world champion.
But what I'll say about that match, it was a good match when you and me spent a good 10, 15 minutes talking about the possible outcomes of the match.
That's true.
What could happen.
Yeah, we were discussing all the possible outcomes and what could come of it during the end of the match. And we got to the point where we were like, you know what? I don't really know what's going to happen here. We don't really know the ending. So, I mean, the match played out perfectly. Like, you did not know who was going to win that. Not until the end. You really didn't. And now that Samoa Joe has one, yeah, it looks like Swerve Strickland will have to finish his program with Hangman Adam Page before he gets to move on and go for the AEW World Title.
And I think I'd give that a solid 8.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8. Mike D, we rate things based on body slams 1 through 10. What would you give the World Title match?
I would have to agree with y'all. I would have to give it an 8.
An 8?
I think that the right person won, and I think the right person took the loss. Swerve right now, I think everybody wants to see him as the champion, but it's too early to take the belt off of Samoa Joe yet. Right after he beat MJF at the end of December. So
yeah, I mean he's had a good 3-month reign. You don't think that's long enough though? You want to see a little bit longer reign out of him?
Yeah, I want to see a little bit a little longer reign. I think right now, Swerve.
How long would you like to see? Like a 6-month reign or a little longer than that?
Probably like a 6-month reign. 6 months.
All right. Okay. Now, what other match on the card, so we don't have to go back through everything, what other match on the card was one of your favorites or one that you would want to chat about real quick before we move into the Sting in the main event?
I think the match that I wanted to see was the one that y'all talked about the most. The one that y'all just talked about now, the triple threat match.
The triple threat match?
Yeah. The Tony Storm, Deonna Purrazzo match was good. I'm surprised that they did that so early, with Purrazzo just coming into the company and letting her take a loss that early.
Yeah, letting her. Go ahead.
I was just surprised at that they, didn't give it a little bit more build up and for another pay-per-view, and they had the match so early. I think the Orange Cassidy Roderick Strong match was a good match, even though Roderick Strong took the win. And overall, it was a solid pay-per-view.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't know Hangman was suspended. Jaina, do you know why Hangman is suspended? I did not hear that part. And shout out to Show Me the Collectibles, another Crander Q show. Make sure you go check them out. They're on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you go check them out. And let's plug Mike D real quick. Wrestling from the 313. Check him out on YouTube, Facebook, X, TikTok, and make sure you tell him that Mayhem Media sent you on that.
Sweet.
Because of the match, Jaina. What did he do in the match that I must have missed something in the match then?
I obviously missed something too.
Yeah, I guess so. We all missed something, I guess, Mike. Did you see anything that would have caused Hangman to get suspended?
I can't remember why they suspended him. It might have had something to do.
Is this storyline he suspended, Jaina? Because he put hands on an official? Like a storyline. He's not legitimate suspended.
Yeah, it was a storyline.
Jaina Pride is a referee. Jaina Pride is a referee in the Indies, so she, of course, is going to side with the referees. And there's no, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. They take some big bumps themselves, They take some big shots too. Yeah, I thought he was legitimately suspended. I didn't know. Is this a legitimate suspension, Jaina, or is this like kayfabe, like it's storyline? It's going to be part of the storyline.
It's storyline.
Okay. Yeah, Jaina's just feeling for the officials at the moment. So I don't even know where I was going next. Where were we going next? Oh, no, kayfabe. Okay. So, yeah, all right. So Hangman suspended. Okay, so he's suspended. So, but he's going to continue his program with Swerve Strickland. Even if he's suspended, he's coming back to do that. And then let's talk about now the main event. Oh, another commenter. Hello, Taco Label. I'm sorry, there are no tacos. Or you know what? Actually, since Crander Q sent you, he was the one who told me that anybody coming to request tacos, he would supply. So you should go to back and reach out to Friends of the Squared Circle and tell them that you want your free tacos that he promised you. So moving on now to the main event. But let's first talk about, before we get to the main event, let's talk about Sting and the history of Sting. 38-year career. His different, this is a great backdrop. I found this today. It's all of his different personas. From left, you have the Surfer Sting, the 90s Surfer Sting, then his first incarnation of the Crow, to Wolfpack Sting, to his first appearance in TNA, then his evolution of the character to Joker. Then I believe the second to last one is his WWE run, and then is the AEW run. And 38-year career, and we're about to go over some stats real quick. Hey man, you got to talk to Crandall Q about that, pal. Actually, let's do some Sting trivia while we're going to go over some of his stats and stuff. Let's ask some of our viewers some questions and get them to comment while we go over some of the stats. What's your first impression of Sting? The first time I saw Sting, I was a kid. The blonde surfer hair, the face paint, he was my favorite. He's been my favorite since the beginning. I was always a Sting fan, even more than a Hogan fan. Always Sting. So leave a comment on what your impression of Sting was. Mizpah, what was your first impression of Sting?
So my first impression, I actually didn't watch wrestling until after he went from Surfer Boy to
Crow Sting,
the first Crow, and I liked everything about what he had going on at that time.
Yeah, it was a hell of an evolution for him to do that. I mean, he took 13, 14 months off, I think it was, from the time he had last been in the ring until he did another match. Mike D, what was your first impression of Sting?
It had to be the surfer Sting. You know what I'm saying? Just for me, always looked at him. You know, Hulk Hogan was the face of WWF at the time, and I always looked at him as the face of WCW. You know, he was like the Hulk Hogan, the Undertaker, the Shawn Michaels, the guy that never left. You know what I'm saying? He was the heart and soul of WCW. With as well as Ric Flair, but that's all I can remember. And then just the different color face paint, the different color outfits, like that's what made him stand out. Like guys like him, Ultimate Warrior, Ric Flair, Randy Savage, like just the different color attire, the different color robes, and you know he was one of those guys that stood out with that, you know, with those type of designs.
Excellent. And yeah, I mean, the three of us definitely, obviously. Jana Pride, you're now banned from the show for confusing the singer Sting with the wrestler Sting. I can't help that. So, okay, Jana Pride won't be on an upcoming Star Trek episode. And of course, I'm just kidding. She can still come on the show, but she is going to catch much flack for that comment right there. Yeah.
And growing up watching wrestling, I was very much a Hogan fan as a kid. But you know, that was as I got older, I started to learn things and really started understanding what some of the wrestlers did outside of the ring as well.
Yeah.
And then that was when I started becoming a fan of Sting, because you know, he did a lot of great things for people outside of the ring and as well.
Yes, he did. He definitely put a lot of people over. Oops, excuse me. Sorry, I messed up here. All right, now let's do where is it? Which incarnation? Let's
Hey, I must have missed that memo.
Oh yeah, Mizpah. Yeah, you're being blamed now for the taco situation. But what was your favorite incarnation of Sting? Mike D, you go first.
It would have to be the Crow. It would definitely have to be the Crow. For me, the Crow kind of reminded me. He kind of reminded me of Batman a little bit. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just being like when they would show him at the top of the arena looking down, kind of like how Batman used to look down at Gotham at the top of the buildings and stuff like that. Just what he did with that character, just going over a year without speaking, without wrestling. And actually earlier today on A&E, the biography they did on the NWO came on. and it was talking about how
Cool.
Sting made that transition, and he was just saying that the less that he said was better, and that was so true. Like, he didn't even have to say nothing, and just his impact just coming from the rafters or coming through the crowd or coming through the ring. You know what I'm saying? He made an impact, and I think that was the best thing that he did for his career. He was actually supposed to be the third man for the NWO.
I know that, Mike D. Yeah. Hold on, Mizpah. We'll get to our favorite Stings here in just 1 second. But yeah, that was the original plan. Now Sting says he had no knowledge of that he was never included in the discussion. But I've heard from multiple sources, from multiple people. I think it was Kevin Nash or Scott Hall that said it, and I believe Eric Bischoff had said that it was talked about for a little while. Now at the time, I probably would have hated it. Because I was a huge Sting fan. I did not like the NWO. But in hindsight, if the NWO probably, I mean, who knows how that would have played out, but Sting's never been the selfish kind of person that Hogan was. And I mean that both on screen and backstage. So I think the NWO could have been a completely different unit had it would have been with Sting than Hogan. For me, go ahead. No, go ahead, Mike D.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think that the way it turned out was better than putting Sting in the NWO. I think that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Putting Hogan in there because I think Hogan needed the character turnaround more than Sting did. You know what I'm saying? I think Sting did the character turnaround because of the storyline with the NWO. Hogan was in the red and yellow and getting booed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
they were already. The crowd, you're right. The crowd was already ready to boo Hogan. Yeah. I completely agree with you on that too. Yeah, I do completely agree with you on that. He started facing boos when him and Macho Man were doing stuff in WCW. They started booing him at that point. He started seeing boos. Mizpah, what was your favorite incarnation of Sting?
I'd have to go with the red and black.
The Wolfpack Sting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Go ahead.
Part of that is because if he with the Crow, like he had that for so long, and it was always just an evolving, pretty much same thing, but just always evolving. With the Wolfpack Sting, it showed the other side of that table a little bit.
It gave him a chance to actually show some emotion again from the Crow character. It was his first evolution kind of off of the Crow character, like kind of adapting it a little bit. And I think that was pretty awesome too. Jane and Pride, I also agree with you. The Main Event Mafia was a great stable, and it definitely is underrated for sure. But I agree with Crander Q and Friends of the Squared Circle. Surfer Sting all day, blonde spiked hair, colorful face paint. That's been my favorite Sting always. So I agree with them on that. And Friends of the Squared Circle, something to mention on the NWO. Hogan better than Sting on the mic too, though, at that time. And I kind of agree with you, but like Mike D said, even before he became the Crow Sting, Sting was always a man who didn't say too many words. Even when he was on the mic, he didn't say a bunch of words. And I think it would have been cool to actually see him to try and become the heel. That would have been cool. In hindsight, at the time, I would have booed it out of the stadium because I was a huge Sting fan and didn't want to see him be a bad guy. But I think in hindsight, to see him try and become a heel would have been something to see. I don't know what Jana's comment is on. Oh, except maybe the Hogan's better than Sting on the mic comment. That might have been what that was for. So yeah, Surfer Sting for me. We're going to go through some of these pretty quickly here so we don't end up going 2.5 hours or anything like that. Do you have a favorite Sting match? Mizpah, do you have a favorite Sting match?
There's way too many for me to even think about that.
I would say really, first of all, his Starrcade match with Hogan. When he comes back, his first match back as the Crow Sting, which broke the WWE, the WCW. That's the biggest WCW pay-per-view in terms of buys that there's ever been. That's a great match. I think any of his War Games matches are fantastic. I would also refer you to the very first episode of Nitro and the very last episode of Nitro, because they are both main evented by Sting against Ric Flair. And anytime you get Sting and Flair, you're not going to get any better than that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. There's so many good matches. How do you pick one?
Yeah. And Sting's best opponents, I think I would have to go with Ric Flair. I would have to go with Ric Flair.
Yeah. But you can't forget about Big Van Vader and the Great Muta also.
Muta. Yeah, all right. The Great Muta. Yeah, the Great Muta too. Yeah, definitely he would have to be in there. If people are still watching, if you have a favorite match or a favorite opponent, please leave a comment. We will talk about some of that. Let's switch now and talk about his accomplishments. Sting is, depending on how you look at it, I know it's a little small, everybody. I did my best. I apologize. All right. It was a lot to get on there. And then when I tried to make it, I didn't have enough time to go back and redo it all again. So it's not the best, but it is there. In terms of world championships, if you count the WCW International Heavyweight Championship as a heavyweight championship, then he's a 15-time champion. If you don't count that, then he's 13 times. But he's a 2-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, 6-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, 4-time TNA World Heavyweight Champion, and a 1-time AEW World Heavyweight Champion. He's also, and this is the cool part here, and we got some Sting trivia coming up here in just a second. He is a 3-time WCW Tag Team Champion. And I have actually my information in red there is wrong. He's actually one of 3 people to hold the tag title more than three times or more with 3 or more partners. He won the belt with Luger. He won the belt separately with Giant, and then he won the belt again with Kevin Nash, making Sting a 3-time tag champion with all 3 of those guys. 2-time U.S. champion, 1-time TNA tag team champion, and of course, he's a 1-time AEW tag team champion with Darby Allin, and then he did hold the NWA TV championship once. He is a 3-time Hall of Famer. He was WCW's 3rd Triple Crown champion, being the world title, the U.S. title, and the tag titles. He was undefeated in AEW. He main evented, as I said before, WCW's biggest pay-per-view in terms of buys at Starrcade, and he was Pro Wrestling Illustrated Most Popular Wrestler of the Year 4 times. 5 times. 4 times he was Most Popular Wrestler of the Year. 1 time he was just voted Wrestler of the Year, and he was also awarded the Stanley Weston Award Lifetime Achievement Award in 2023. So that is the Sting's accomplishments right there. What do you guys have to say about that?
Hey, that's a Hall of Fame career. That's a lot of longevity. That's a lot of accomplishments.
That's a hell of a resume.
Yeah, and I don't think it gets talked about a lot. I mean, because we always talking about, what Hogan did, what Flair did, what Shawn Michaels, The Rock, I think we talk about them so much, we don't talk about a lot of the accomplishments that Sting did. And he accomplished a lot in his career, and you ran it down, and it's a pretty nice list.
Yeah, fantastic list. Jana Pride's going to get trolled. You're about to get trolled yourself back here in a minute. Of course, this is not, you know what this match is versus Jeff Hardy, Victory Road 2011. That is a show of Sting's professionalism, of his skill inside the ring. That's what that match is. It's a show of his professionalism and his skill inside the ring, because Jeff Hardy was high. He was in no condition to wrestle. Yeah. It could have caused a huge scene if they would have tried to take him out of the ring without him actually wrestling. So Barrett Bischoff said, okay, we're going to put the match on Sting, death drop him, pin him, and we're getting out of here. And he did just that, despite Jeff Hardy doing his best. Go rewatch that. Jeff Hardy tries like a motherfucker to kick out of that death drop after Sting grabs a hold of his leg. Sting muscles Jeff Hardy and rolls him up and just holds him to the ground. So, I mean, I understand what you were saying, Jana, because that's a really god-awful, terrible match, but not for Sting, in my opinion. I think that shows his professionalism and his ability in the ring to be able to get something done, to be able to see there's a problem and get in and out with no issues and no problems at all. And yes, he was a champion everywhere he went. Crander Q, and Taco. Thank you. He did have a hell of a resume.
Yeah, I wish I would have written down where I had seen this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Can I interrupt you just for a second, Mizpah? The Sting trivia. We're gonna come back to it. We're gonna go to Mizpah's point, and then we'll come back to the answer to this. But this is the Sting trivia. Who are the only other two wrestlers to hold the tag titles, to hold the tag team titles, and have more than 3 reigns, and also have more than 3 different partners? Okay. There's 2 other people other than Sting who has done that, who have held the belts 3 times or more with multiple partners. So that's the trivia. Leave a comment, and we'll come back to that in just a couple of minutes with the answer. Mizpah, what were you saying?
So I had seen a quote somewhere. I guess somebody had asked Sting, like, how he measured his career himself, like with all the titles and everything, like what he thought about that. And he said the way he measured the success of his career was based on how many other wrestlers he helped elevate their careers, how many wrestlers he helped elevate their storylines for them to become champions.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like Sting.
And yeah, that speaks a lot to the man behind the face paint.
Yeah, and in fact, here let's bring this up. Let's see the comments here. No. Luger, Foley, Orton, Jaina Pride. You have 1 out of 3. Something else that I wanted to put up real quick since you just brought it up. Sting's greatest accomplishment. Leave a comment what you think Sting's greatest accomplishment is. Mizpah, I think you just gave yours.
I did.
With the way he was always concerned about putting over his opponents, far less concerned about himself. Otherwise, his resume could have been more big. If he had any kind of selfishness, who knows how many title reigns he could have had, but he wasn't, and that's why I think. Even despite that, he still has an amazing resume. Mike D, do you have his greatest accomplishment? If you choose to if you have one.
I would say his greatest accomplishment, one of them would be making it to the Hall of Fame in WWE, and he's in TNA, right?
Yes. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. He is in the WWE Hall of Fame, and he is in the TNA Hall of Fame. He's a 3-time Hall of Famer.
Okay. And I would say, him being in the Hall of Fame, and I kind of just want to say his accomplishment, just that whole storyline with the NWO, like that brought a lot of attention to pro wrestling. Like I said, the NWO was like the hottest thing going on during that time, and they needed somebody to be like that that superhero.
Yeah.
And I think that they did everything perfect. Hogan joining the NWO, Sting being that superhero, that vigilante kind of sort of like. So I just think that whole storyline, I still think that that's one of the best storylines in wrestling.
I would agree with you. I think, and then him taking 14 months off out of the ring strictly for character development. That's no one does that. Who does that? No one ever does that.
Yeah. So I would just say the whole Crow story, the whole Crow character was just an accomplishment on his own.
Yeah. Crander Q, you are wrong. You also have 1, correct, but only 1. Let's see. Janet Sting seems to be one of those rare people that seems to leave every place better than he found it, both in the ring and behind the curtain. I would agree with that, Jaina Pride. And that leads it to what I think my greatest accomplishment for him is, because he is a devout Christian man, and he has been for almost all of his career. I don't know exactly when he became a born again Christian, but he's been one for most of his career. And the ability to keep your faith in an industry like wrestling I think speaks volumes, because there are wrestling, as we've seen from Dark Side of the Rings, wrestling is littered with a lot of terrible tragedies, a lot of bad stories, a lot of
Yeah.
bad people. But Sting was able to stay a man of faith through his entire career, and that's unbelievable in my opinion for the wrestling business. That took some amazing self-control, some self-discipline on his part. It had to.
Definitely.
But then again, maybe because of all the darkness around him is what kept him being a godly man.
Yeah.
Because he saw everything around him, all saw it for what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do this real quick. What promotion did Sting have his best run in? WCW, hands down.
Oh yeah.
Everybody stay tuned for the answer to the question coming up next. But what do you guys think? WCW, or do you think a different place?
Oh yeah, WCW. Like there's no question. TNA, he had a good run. AEW, he had a good run. WWE could have been WWE could have been way better. I don't understand why they put him in WrestleMania and have him lose to Triple H. Like I still didn't understand that. But
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I think it was a Vince McMahon thing. It was just, you was one of the guys that tried to put me out of business. So yeah, I'm gonna bring you along, but you're gonna lose some matches or whatever. That's
Friends of Squared Circle, again, you have one right, but only one. Does any of our viewers want to take a last minute guess on I went to the wrong place. On where's my Sting trivia? There it is. Anybody want to make any last minute guesses on the other two wrestlers to hold the tag titles 3 or more times with multiple partners? Take some last minute guesses. And while you think about it and take some last minute guesses, this is Sting and Giant. I couldn't find one of them with the tag belts together, but Sting's partner was the Giant. One of his partners was the Giant, Lex Luger. And there was he was with Kevin Nash.
And the answers to this question, it could be guys in WWE, right?
They're the answers to those questions. Who else has held? No, it's just for WCW. That's a WCW only. I guess I should have specified that for everybody. No wonder everybody's answering so many weird questions. It's for WCW specifically, everybody, our viewers. WCW specifically. You guys, what do you guys think? You want to make a guess, Mike D?
Yeah. I'm gonna say Lex Luger. I'm going to say Kevin Nash.
Actually, I think I messed this whole thing up. I'm going to go back and rewatch it and realized I messed this whole thing up. If you're guessing Lex Luger because of Crander Q's guesses, you should take that off, because actually he hasn't had any of them right. I don't know what I was thinking. All these things, all these people I think all these people, I either messed something up or I said the wrong thing. So I'm not sure if the people are guessing the other tag team people or the other people who have tagged with Sting. So let's specify this. Luger, Kevin Nash, and the Giant were who Sting held the tag titles with. Those were his 3 partners, okay? The trivia question, okay, is who the other wrestlers who held the WCW tag titles 3 or more times with multiple tag partners, with 3 or more different tag partners, okay? Like Sting was a 3-time tag champion with 3 different guys, okay? So there's 2 others who have been multi-time tag champions with multiple tag team partners, okay? That's what the trivia question is. Since I confuse the crap out of everybody in this episode. So that's what we're guessing. We're guessing the 2 other people, friends of the Squared Circle, 2 other people who held the belt 3 or more times with 3 or more partners. No, I'm definitely not going to do that. Shout out to Crander Q, friends of the Squared Circle, who did, in fact, make these things. But I told them what to make. So if there was a mistake on the actual visual, it was likely my fault. And even if it wasn't my initial fault, I still approved it after he sent it to me. So anybody, Jana Pride or Crander Q or anybody else who's watching, if you want to make one last guess, 2 people who held the belt 3 or more times, the tag team titles 3 or more times with multiple tag partners.
I'm trying to think hard. I can't think of nobody else. How is DDP one of them?
That's a really good guess, but no.
Okay. I can't think of nobody else. Like
he has two. He has two with two different partners.
Okay. That's a hard one. Because when you at first had said the question, I'm thinking the WWE guys, and I'm right off the back, I'm thinking like Shawn Michaels, I'm thinking Randy Orton, and I'm thinking maybe like Stone Cold Steve Austin or somebody like that.
Well, technically, it would count. I mean, the WCW tag belts existed in the WWE for a while. This is the entire lineage of the WCW tag belts. No, Taco, I'm not going to fire Crander Q. He's far too valuable at this point yet. Any guesses? Anybody want to take any guesses? Mizpah?
I have no clue.
All right.
There's smoke over here. I'm thinking and nothing's coming to mind.
Mike D, no more last guesses?
Yeah, I'm out of guesses.
All right. Let's see. 2 comments. Let's see if these comments have it. Oh, wait a minute. We got one. Somebody got one. No, it's not Macho. Sorry, Crander Q. Nope. It's not Macho. So, Friends of the Squared Circle, you got it wrong. But referee Jana Pride gets one of the guesses. Marcus Buff Bagwell, one of the other guys who have held the belts 5 times with 4 different tag team partners. Nope, not Flair either, Crander Q. So there's one other person. Last guesses, anybody for the last person? Buff was 1. You guys will never guess it.
Because Buff Bagwell did have a couple tag team partners.
Yes, here I'll do that while everybody makes any last guesses. 5 times. He won him one time with 2 Cold Scorpio. He won it 2 times with the Patriot as Stars and Stripes. 1 time with Scotty Riggs as American Males, and then 1 time with Shane Douglas later in the WCW towards the end of its existence.
Oh, that's when when Vince Russo and Bischoff was running things.
And his name is Marcus, Jana. If you didn't know that, he wasn't always Buff Bagwell. He started as Marcus Bagwell.
Yeah, Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
Yeah. Actually, I forgot his middle name. Yeah, he went away. Yeah, he was fully Marcus Alexander Bagwell was his first name. Yeah,
and that was actually
not Billy Kidman either. Crander Q, not Billy Kidman either. All right, so the other person who held it was the Enforcer, AA, Arn Anderson. Holding the WCW NWA tag team belts 5 times. He held them 2 times with Tully Blanchard in the 4 Horsemen. He won them 1 time with Larry Zbyszko as the Brainbusters. He won it 1 time with Bobby Eaton, and then he won it another time with Paul Roma. I believe that was also in the 4 Horsemen. So AA, Arn Anderson, and Buff Bagwell were the only other 2 people who have held the belts more times than Sting with more partners than Sting. So,
and that's crazy because I would have thought Arn Anderson would at least won the tag belts against Ric Flair, and they never were tag team champions together. That's crazy.
Nope. And honestly, even Arn and Ole Anderson, they're only the NWA National Tag Team Champions. They never held the NWA World Tag Team titles either. Yeah. So even Arn and Ole didn't even hold the tag team. They held the national titles, but not the world titles.
And Arn Anderson was a tag team champion in WWF too with Tully Blanchard.
Actually, I believe it was the forklift, Jana. It was a forklift. It was Judy Bagwell on a forklift match, if I'm not mistaken. That was an incarnation of Vince Russo. God help us all. All right. Unless you got something else, Mike D, you wanted to say? We're gonna talk about the main event quick before we get out of here.
Oh no, we go ahead and get to the main event.
All right. So the main event of the match, after we just talked about Sting's illustrious career and played some Sting trivia, the main event of the match, which I'm totally now can't find my visual for. That's fantastic. Was Sting and Darby Allin, the tag team champions, against the Young Bucks. There it is. So it was Sting and Darby Allin AEW World Tag Team Champions against the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. It was a great match, in my opinion. I think definitely a 10 out of 10. I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10 body slams for our rating. And I think it was fantastic. What do you guys think?
I think you need to turn that up to 11.
An 11?
And I see why Sting likes Darby Allin. The man is a lunatic.
Yeah. Before we get to that spot, Mike D, what did you think about his sons joining him in the ring and participating in the match?
I thought it was cool. I thought it was a nice way to kind of like pay homage to him, you know, have the Surfer's theme look and then the Wolfpack Crow look. So I think it was a good way for them to pay homage to their dad.
Yeah, and I want to say Mizpah did he can testify to this. When his first son came out, I swear I was screaming, he did do it, he did bleach his hair, he is in the black. You know, I thought he went old school with the blonde hair. Like I thought it was Sting.
We both
his son, Steve, I'm pretty sure that one's Steve. Other people online have the pictures wrong. I'm pretty sure his son Steve Borden was the one with the blonde hair. So, and he's built just like him. Like I thought it was Sting. After I did a double take, I'm like, wait a minute. His body didn't look exactly like Sting. So I wasn't sure after I looked, but initially I was like, yo, that's Sting. I was like, it's Sting. He did do it. But even though he didn't go back to the Surfer Sting, I do like that he brought his kids out and that they paid homage to his old looks. I thought it was fantastic. And Jane, I agree with you. The story of the night for sure. And I think no one does a Stinger splash like the original. I'm sorry. His sons did it fine-ish, but no one does it like the original Sting.
Of course. Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I had found out that Sting very much wanted to go out losing the belt.
Yes.
That was his vision. He wanted to lose the belt and hand the belt over.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan and Darby both.
No. Let's be clear. It was Tony Khan. It was Darby Allin. It was both Matthew and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. It was many, many other people backstage.
Oh yeah, a lot of people.
It was basically the entire locker room talking him into, no, you're not losing this match. That's just all there is to it. So, what are your thoughts on that though? Because you thought for sure he was going to lose all night long, and I kept saying all night long, it's whatever Sting wants it. Unless Darby Allin and company talked him out of it, it's whatever Sting wants.
Yeah, I personally, once I realized how it was going to go, I was actually satisfied with him leaving with the belt. I'm glad that they didn't give it the belts over, and I think it ended up the way it needed to. What about you?
I think it was a fantastic match. I thought we got to see Sting give everything. He did a bunch of crazy stuff, and that I was still not okay with. I don't care if he was retiring or not. I was not okay with him going through the glass. I was not okay with him jumping off through tables. I was not okay with any of that.
At 55 years old.
Yeah, but he did it, and you know he took it very well. Let's talk for a second about. I really wish I would have got a picture. I'm going to try and look up a picture while we talk about this. But let's talk about Darby's spot. Let's talk for a minute about Darby's spot. Darby Allin off the ladder. He does a swan
20 feet down on the glass.
Yeah.
And 6 chairs.
Yeah. Like
the man is insane.
Yeah. For me, it was a good match, but I didn't think that spot was really. I didn't really think that they needed it.
I think he needed that for himself because he said he wanted to do something to help the match be memorable and go down in the books, and I think he did exactly what he intended to do.
Oh yeah, he did it.
I mean, think about it. People are still talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not what I wanted to do. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to get a big screen here. Hold on.
He did exactly what he intended to do there.
All right. Is it up there?
So from that aspect, I think it was a success. Was it necessarily needed? Maybe not. But then again, you know, what if we didn't have that? Would everybody still be talking about it?
Right.
Would it be as memorable as it is?
Oh crap! No wonder.
So I'm okay with it. I think he's a lunatic. I mean, who willingly dives 25 feet off of a ladder onto 6 chairs with a plate of glass? And knowing what the result's going to be.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. This is the before picture. I'll get an after picture for you for just a minute. Mizpah, I think I completely agree with you on the spot and why he did it. Mike T, did you want to add anything before I give my thoughts?
Nah, it was just it was uncomfortable just to see him going through that glass and then just looking at his back afterwards, like. And it's not to say like, oh, this shouldn't be in wrestling and stuff, because I know that they do stuff to entertain the crowd. But it was just one of them things, man. It was just like, like
it was a hard fall. It was a hard fall. It was a hard fall for sure. Here we go. We got this. It's in black and white. I found a black and white one for obvious reasons. It is gnarly. It is gnarly. It was a terrible fall. Jana Pride, it was uncomfortable. Okay. Listen, it was uncomfortable.
It was.
But now let's talk about why he did it now. Okay. Because first of all, did he need to do it? Because people are going crazy about this, that it was stupid and this and that. And was it stupid? Yeah, probably. Was it necessary for the match? Then you can debate on that. Was it dangerous? Absolutely. Why did he do it? He did it to create a spot that would add another level of excitement to the match. You're very unlikely going to see anybody swanton bomb through planes of glass set up on chairs ever again. So there's the unique factor right there. Okay. The second thing is it took him out the match. Let's talk about the chemistry and the story of a match. Darby Allin's useless after that. He comes in at the end to push someone off the turnbuckle. That's the extent of his contribution to the match after he goes through the glass. Okay. So you have a guy, Darby Allin, who's known for doing dangerous spots. He's done them in the past. This is nothing new. So he does a dangerous spot. It misses. He gets injured. You leave the veteran in there to face the Young Bucks alone. That's why he did it. Because you got to see Sting in a tag match, in a tornado tag match. You got to see him do spots. You got to see him go through glass himself. Got to see him go through tables. But then you also got to watch him have a handicap match inside the match. You watched him battle both the Young Bucks, as Sting has done so many times before. Mike D, how many times has Sting taken on the entirety of the NWO? Right? Like how many times in the 90s did we watch Sting just take on 8 guys like they were nothing? You know, just right hand, backhand, kick, right hand, backhand, kick. Just, you know, that's him in a handicap match was something I think added to the match. He's a veteran. He can still get it done. He still battled both the Young Bucks in a handicap match, and he did it like he was still a young man. And then, of course, we got to see the double Scorpion Deathlock. Who has not wanted to see the double Scorpion Deathlock for his entire career?
Yeah.
So I think his spot, Darby's spot, was necessary because it took him. It was a wow factor. It was something unique you're never going to likely see again. It took him out of the match so that Sting got to showcase that he can still get it done against 2 guys. And that's my opinion on the spot. While I understand people don't like it, I think it was good to have in there. And I think it was important to the match. It wasn't necessarily necessary, but it worked. I think it worked. I think it was good for the match. And if Darby Allin didn't want to do it, he wouldn't have done it. Tony Khan's not making anybody do that. I want to be clear about that. That was Darby's choice to take that hit.
No, in fact, I had read that they were trying to talk him out of it, and he wasn't having it.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure they did. And I don't think it took anything away from the match. I do think it enhanced it.
Yeah, and in that match, I was surprised to see Sting go through some glass too. I was real, like, I didn't think he was gonna do that, but he was jumping off of balconies and all that other stuff when he
left his shirt on. I mean, he left the shirt on, and we haven't seen Sting. He's always been wearing the shirt and stuff, the sweatshirt and stuff. And I think he's wearing a vest, like a protective vest underneath his sweatshirt and stuff when he's been wrestling.
Okay.
to help him with impacts and stuff when he takes impacts and stuff. And that's why we haven't seen him like, go shirtless or anything like that. I think he's been wearing some padding under there. So him going through the glass is not as bad as Darby doing it because Darby's shirtless. He's got nothing. You know what I mean? I mean, come on. How many glass spots have we seen in the last 30 years of wrestling? And how many of them have ended with the person not being carved to shreds? Can you think of a glass spot that didn't end with someone being carved up like they were a turkey? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Even Goldberg, when he did the spot where he was supposed to smash a windshield, carved his forearm all up and missed like 4 to 6 months worth of action.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I mean, anything with glass, you're getting cut up, and you're going to get carved up. So that's just part of it. So I'm completely okay with the stunt. I thought it added to the match. I don't think it took anything away. And Sting retiring the tag champions, again, I don't have a problem with that either. I mean, I like that Sting got to add an additional point to his resume. He is now undefeated in AEW. His shoulders never saw the mat in AEW. He was never defeated in AEW. That's just one more thing that he gets to put on his resume. And I think that's awesome to do. I think that's a great thing in place of him not getting an AEW world title run. And I understand why they didn't give him one. And even if they would have all wanted it, he likely never still would have accepted it because he's not that person. So I think in place of him not getting a world title run, I think him going undefeated was excellent and the way to go. If our commenters have anything to say, please leave us a final comment as we move towards the end and get ready to wrap up. What do you guys have to say about the ending? Mikey, are you okay with him not going out on his back?
You know what? When I was kind of back and forth with this match because I kind of felt like, okay, the Young Bucks might win just so they can have tag team champions, but then I'm cool with Sting winning his last match. I think that it was well deserved. I think it needed to be that way. I got no complaints here.
I agree. I completely agree. And I don't know of any singles match that I would have preferred to see him in. I thought he had a great program with Darby Allin. Darby Allin was in AEW before Sting. And I said, as soon as I saw Darby Allin, I said, they got to get Sting. They got to hook Darby and Sting up immediately. There's just something there. And it's great to see that. Darby Allin's now is going to be out. He's going to Mount Everest to climb Mount Everest. He's pretty vocal about he doesn't know that he's actually going to make it back in time, which makes me think he's probably plotting something stupid on his climb to Mount Everest, as stupid as you might want to call him swan-tining his way through 2 panes of glass.
Right.
So hopefully we still see Darby come back after his recovery and after his Mount Everest trip. This trip has been planned for a long time. Ever since Sting was going to be leaving, he was going to be taking some time off as well, which I think serves his character very well. Take his time off. People can get away from the Sting Darby Allin. He can come back fresh and do something like maybe go for the world title, maybe against Swerve. I wouldn't mind seeing them two work together.
So do you think that Darby Allin takes this time to maybe, I don't want to say reinvent his image a little bit, but refresh it some?
No, I don't know about that. I don't know if he's going to change it. Maybe we might see a little change in his image. Mike D, what do you think?
I think after he takes this little break, after he does this thing in Mount Everest, I think he's just gonna be refreshed. Like Mizpah said, he's gonna be refreshed. Hopefully, like he said, he go for the world title. Because that's the only thing that's left for him at this point. He's been a tag champion. He's been a TNT champion. Those other 2 belts, like
the international, the intercontinental. I'm sorry, the international championship
and the continental crown
and the continent. And I'm sorry, wait a minute. Let's get this right here. This is the AEW. I love you, AEW. I love you, AEW. And I know Tony Khan loves belts. He loves championships. We all love championships. When we had a wrestling game as kids where we could finally make our own wrestling championships, who didn't make like 8 more championships to the WWE Games roster, which already had plenty of championships? We've all been there. But in real wrestling, it's a little bit much. Okay. I mean, we don't need the the international championship. Okay. And then we don't need the the continental championship. Okay. You've taken international and continental and made it two separate belts in your own organization.
Yeah.
That,
because
you don't see a problem with that.
Because that's what I thought, that the international title was supposed to be their version of the intercontinental title. And then they turn around and they could have did a cruiserweight championship instead of a continental crown championship. They got the luchadors for it. So it's like, why not do like a cruiserweight division? And
I mean, and they got the 6-man. Listen, there's too many. There was too many before the Continental Classic. The international championship was a stretch. That was pushing it as it was. So you add the Continental on top of it, and it's just not, there's no reason. Doesn't matter. No reason. So now that we've commented on all that, it was a great show. I give the whole event a 9.5 out of 10. The whole event. I think all the matches were good, or at least good enough. They were on point. And of course, Sting's final match, was great.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
And, for anybody who still thinks AEW cut him off, they didn't cut him off. They said Darby said he had 3 minutes, and Sting talked. He let the crowd chant for 2.5 minutes, and then he started talking. It's not that they cut him off. It's that they were out of time. And you knew it was going to be posted online less than 2 hours after it was over. I said the same thing to Mizpah after it went off. He's like, oh, how did we miss that? And I said, dude, it's going to be online in 2 hours. So
it wasn't even 2 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't even take that long. So
real quick, what do y'all think about WWE acknowledging Sting's retirement?
I think that's a great thing. I think the WWE needs to do more of that if they hope to survive. I think the fact that they didn't let some of the people go to it is still a problem. At least they let them say something about it on their next show. I thought that was good of them to at least comment on it on their next show. But I think the fact that they still didn't let wrestlers who were under contract even go to it to see it, maybe not even participate, but not even go to see it, I think it's still an issue for the WWE.
I felt
Tony Khan has let his people go to WWE TV and do video promos for people that are air on WWE. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to reciprocate. Ms. Bonds?
I really felt like them acknowledging Sting's retirement was just for the sole purpose of saving face.
I think you're right.
It definitely had an air of, we caught a lot of heat for not allowing our video footage to be used or allowed our wrestlers to go there. So we're going to acknowledge his retirement. I felt like it was an afterthought, and it was all to save face, and it definitely had an air of that about it.
I agree with you, and you're right. They didn't even that's the other thing. They didn't even let AEW use their footage to put together a video package for Sting. So I think I do agree with Mizpah. I think now that he just said it that way, I think it is absolutely. It was trying for them to save face because they caught a lot of flack for not opening up their video library to them and not letting the people attend that wanted to attend, like Kevin Nash. He wanted Kevin Nash to be there. Kevin Nash said because of his position within WWE, he couldn't make it. So, and others as well. So I think that's a problem for WWE that they need to get over real quickly. I think, sorry about that, everybody. That's my phone going off that I thought I had turned down. Apparently I did not have it turned down. So my apologies there.
I get what y'all saying about that they need to, start opening up to other organizations and letting them use their video content and stuff. I can't say that we'll see that down the line, but you are also seeing WWE work with other organizations. I mean, look at what they've done with TNA the last 2 years in the Royal Rumble. Jordan Grace, like, I understand Mickie James, because she worked with WWE, and they had her in the Royal Rumble. But Jordan Grace, I think that was a surprise to everybody. And I think that eventually, you know what I'm saying, I know Triple H don't like to use the term forbidden door, but I think slowly but surely, you're going to see them work with different organizations. Now, will they let them use their content and stuff like that? That I don't know. but I definitely do see them slowly but surely working with other organizations.
Yeah, and you're right about that. I mean, the AEW, just like, and that's why I think the AEW, that's where they're like WCW a lot. WCW worked with New Japan Pro Wrestling. WCW worked with AAA and some of the Mexican organizations. And AEW is doing the exact same thing. I mean, they got an event every year with New Japan Pro Wrestling called Forbidden Door.
Forbidden Door, yeah.
So,
and another thing too, AEW did. They let Billy Gunn go to the WWE Hall of Fame when they inducted DX into the Hall of Fame too. So,
yep.
So I mean, it's just one of them things. At the end of the day, they still competition. You know what I'm saying?
They're competition, but there's no reason. Just like, I mean, Mike D, no offense. I mean, me, you, and Crander Q have talked about this. We're all podcasters, right? You could make the argument that some of us are in competition with each other for views and stuff, but you don't. It's not like that. It doesn't need to be like that. Yeah, they're competition, but competition makes you better. There's no reason you can't work with your competition to make a better show or to get a hype or something like that.
There's competition, and then there's common courtesy.
Yeah.
But even competition, you know what I mean? Like even like Mike D was just saying. I mean, New Japan works with AEW. AEW sends their stars to New Japan. Like that, you can work together. There's a way to make it work together. WWE has always had the stigmata that they're sports entertainment and that they're different from the rest of the wrestling industry. That's what kind of alienates them, I think. I think that's something they need to change, though, in the future, WWE.
Hopefully with them, with Vince McMahon not running the company anymore, and, TKO or Endeavor is running the company, hopefully we get to see a little bit of that, or we see a little bit of that open up where they start to work with other companies. So we shall see.
Yep. It's definitely a new day for the WWE, that's for sure. It's not going to be business as usual. But it was a great AEW show. Back to AEW. It was a great AEW show. Sting's retirement was a great match. I'm very glad that I purchased it so that I could watch it, because I haven't been able to get to see the last couple of weeks of AEW, but the pay-per-view was amazing. I do recommend watching an AEW pay-per-view. If you haven't yet, tune in, because they did put on a great show for Revolution, and I know that a lot of their other pay-per-views have been really great shows too. So tune into it, check it out. And also tune into Mike D Wrestling from the 313 on Facebook, YouTube. He's on X. He's on Instagram. Check him out everywhere. Tell him Mayhem Media sent you, and check out some of his episodes.
Mizpah, and also go to our Wrestling from the 313 shop on TikTok. Get you a hoodie.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot you had the shop now too. Yeah, the Wrestling 313 shop. Check that out too. Pick yourself up some apparel. Executive producer Mizpah, he's probably not wearing the right shirt, but I am wearing the Mayhem Media shirt today. We also have a storefront, Mayhem Media, established 2022. You can pick that up on our storefront, bonfire.com/store/JDE Designs. That's with a Z at the end of it. That goes with my art business. It's a different storefront, but I sell my Mayhem gear on that storefront. So check it out. Pick up some apparel. We have a couple of different designs, and we have a coffee mug. So check that out. Last shout out for Crander Q, Friends of the Squared Circle. He built the visuals and stuff for all our questions and all our fan interaction. So big thank you to Crander Q and Friends of the Squared Circle. Shout him out and check him out. He's on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter and all that stuff too. Stop by and tell him that Mayhem Media sent you. Jana Pride, thanks for commenting so much. We appreciate you. We can't wait to have you back. Until then, I am your host, JD. That's the end.
Night.
Peace.